8 minutes after 8. We've just been having a great old chat with Griff Rhys Jones, actor, comedian, presenter, writer. He's in Australia for his Where Was I? Is that the right intonation? Where was I?
Well, I don't know. That sounds a little bit. Where was I? Yes, it is. I guess it is. And it's sort of. I like to think of it as being a double meaning. You know,
Yeah.
It's sort of where was I in the world where this extraordinary story that I'm going to tell you actually took place, and also. I can't remember a thing about it.
We were just having a bit of a chat about your great mate. Well, two great mates, Peter Cook and Mel Smith. I was telling you that I wrote a play a long time ago that was held at the Comedy Festival, and Peter Cook was the guest judge, and he turned up to be the guest judge after having been to lunch with Mel Smith, which was not the ideal preparation.
Yeah, I like the idea that people didn't really realise that Mel and Peter Cook had an enormous amount in common.
Yeah.
And most of it came out of a bottle.
Yep.
And that was the two of them loved to sit in an afternoon and have the newspapers open in front of them and place bets and drink their way through a bottle of vodka. And
And you tell me that Mel...
I had to leave. I never got invited to these things because I gave up drinking when I was 30.
Are most geniuses alcoholics?
No, I don't think so. No, I like to think of myself as being sober.
Virtually every great American writer is an alcoholic. That's
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
when you think of all the great American writers, virtually all of them are alcoholics.
I tell you what, I think it's about greed, isn't it? But the thing is that some people have an appetite for life. I like to think the thing about alcohol is I think we're all given a certain amount of alcohol by God, basically. And if I got to the age of 30 and realised I'd drunk all my alcohol allocation up by the age of 30, and I thought that any more would be really greedy. I had a couple of friends, Peter and Mel, who didn't necessarily agree with that process.
No, they drank everyone else's. About your show, how much of it is going to be about travel? Because a lot of your life has been dedicated to travel.
It has recently. But one of my points is that our generation, Peter, me, Mel, because I do talk out to, and I have to say this really, because there's a lot of young people's comedy, isn't there? There's lots of stuff about flat sharing and girlfriends and what it was like at school. There's none of that in my generation. We didn't travel. We didn't. No. We got as far as Harlow from time to time to go to the cinema, but there wasn't any of this sort of jumping. My daughter, God bless her, last Christmas she said to me, I can't come up to Suffolk, Daddy. It's too far. I'm going to go to Thailand for Christmas. And she got onto a sort of long haul flight and travelled for. I said, darling, what are you doing? 24 hours sitting on a plane on Christmas Day. You're crazy. You'll just lie there and drink vodka.
Why did you go with her? Because I read that the one place in the world that you've seen the least of is the Far East.
Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah, I haven't yet. The more I travel, the more I realise there's so many places that I haven't been.
So have you got any hacks? Have you got any rules about travel? I've opened a little file on my phone that says rules of travel, and I write things down.
Yeah.
Like, I think cities are becoming more and more alike when you travel. So when you travel, go to the back blocks.
Go to the suburbs.
Yeah,
I find if you go, in New York, there's nothing. You're in central New York. You could be in New York in parts of Melbourne, couldn't you?
Yep.
There's a similarity. But if you want to find a real trip, let's go to upstate New York, and you're in a different country immediately. Yeah. You're out exploring. So I do have these rules, but every rule is there to be broken, isn't it? And so I don't really follow things through. I have a list of. I used to just pack essentials. And then the list of essentials that I had for travelling got bigger and bigger. Yeah. And so now I'm sort of humping sort of lawnmowers and God knows what as I get on that.
I understand that you've got a very interesting observation to make about budget airlines.
Yes.
What is it?
Well, I don't know whether this is where I come over here to Australia, and I worry that people might not have the same experience in budget. Do you have priority boarding and things like that you get involved in?
I think your budget airlines are far more budget than ours.
Are they? Well,
we have so-called budget airlines, but they would be expensive compared with yours.
It's transformed travel over Europe.
You've got Ryanair and things like that.
We've got these things, and basically the very earliest were based on the Lancaster bomber, and you got in, and they opened the bomb doors, and you fell out. And and the whole no frills aircraft has become more and more frilly as time has gone. They've added things, and so I'm conscious these days that, and not only do they add them, they don't monitor, but they don't really really monitor the whole business of like business class and all that stuff when they say, and now we're boarding business class, and the whole airport gets up and walks forward, doesn't it? So I'm a big grumpy old man traveller. But the process is annoying, isn't it? But the exercise of what you get there, that's a different thing.
You haven't been here for long. No. Are you surprised by the level of media coverage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle?
Well, I was thinking that really, I thought to begin with that it was for me. So I was a little bit surprised when this English couple arriving. I thought, wow, that's terrific. Look at this. But then I realised that it's. And didn't you have some vote a little while ago as to whether you were going, like our Brexit, you had a Quexit. Are we going to stick with the Queen or we're not going to stick with the Queen? A Republican thing.
Yeah, it was some time ago.
And then it was, but you decided. So they've obviously sent Harry over to find out, how far you'll go with this.
They are very popular. The royal family is very popular in Australia.
Popular with no more popular than me. I've collected them. I mean, not obviously just not. I'm not a sort of courtier. I'm not but I have for research purposes. I'm just researching in how to get my knighthood. I have sort of involved and I've met most. They're all misunderstood and rather wonderful people.
Are they popular in the UK?
Hugely. But the two new princes, there's one hairy one and one not so hairy. Yeah. They've changed everything because everybody you can't but love the Queen, who has no sort of side, does she? She's never given anything away. She's just marvellous. Everybody is a little bit wary of Charlie because he speaks his mind. But the new princes, they're just a couple of nice young men, and so the whole firm, I think, will go on, don't you, for another sort of 1,000 years, I should think.
Do you find much to laugh at on telly?
Well, not my own telly career anymore.
No. Well, you got the BBC to fly you all around the planet.
Listen, the great thing about comedy, we're talking about Peter Cook, because there must be a lot of people out there going, who? So, I mean, you have to, or Griff Rhys Jones. Who? No, I like trucking. What? And the truth is that every generation has its funny. There's never been. I mean, what's weird about comedy is it's a business, isn't it? That's why I'm here. I'm excited. I'm back in the business.
You produced I'm Alan Partridge.
We did, in the old days. Yeah.
Well, and subsequently to his television career, having sort of been flushed down the toilet, became an adornment to the world of radio, where he remains an inspiration for many of us.
I'm following him. Radio Norwich. I live in Suffolk some of the time, so it's a complicated thing. But what I love about the whole business about going back over there is I can there's no comic I can't meet and say I started you off. You owe me something here. In fact, I was doing a show called Insert Name Here, which is quite a big sort of panel game in, and I did that just before I came here. And the three guys who put that together, I gave them their first job. That won't last forever, but it lasts for a little while.
It's something. Yeah. It is Griff Rhys Jones in Where Was I? To the Athenaeum Theatre on Tuesday. That is next Tuesday. I'm looking around for confirmation.
Pretty soon.
Tickets through livenation.com.au. It's been lovely to meet with you, and people should go and have a look at Where Was I?
Thank you. Well, come and see me. That's great. Lovely.
Griff Rhys Jones. Here's the weather for you today, Griff. A few showers and a possible storm with a top of 23. Right now it's 21. So
God, I've come all this way and it's pouring with rain.
Exactly. Blame the Royals. It's 16 after 8.